Hi, good morning, and welcome to this Q and A from Zimmer and Peacock regarding FoodSense. So today is the 12th of July, and we have gone early on this webinar. We were meant to go a little bit later, but with meetings, etc. today, unfortunately, we have had to go a little bit earlier. So let me just jump straight into it. So every week we're doing a Q and A, really answering questions that have come in during the week on FoodSense. Now, FoodSense obviously is a Scoville meter. Developed at the University of Oxford, UK, by Professor Richard Compton for the detection and measurement of hotness in chili sauces, chilies, purees. We've even done alcoholic drinks, etc. So it's been tested in a range of, let's say, samples and matrices. Now, what I'm going to do is just say that there is a live webinar on the 25th of July. There's actually two webinars on that day. One in our morning and one in our afternoon, and it's intended to basically help people maybe who are in Asia to come to the morning webinar, and then people, for example, in North America to come to the afternoon/evening webinar. So there's one on the 25th of July. That I will put a link. There is already a link underneath the video on YouTube. I also want to say that there is another one exactly the same on the 29th of August. So these are two free webinars, but they're more than this one. This one's just a Q and A webinar. This one's actually going to have live streaming as well. So as I say, there are some links. The links are already underneath the video, and simply you can access them there, if I could put it that way. Now, in terms of discussion, we do have these demonstrations, and I'll just mute that as well. We do have some demonstrations of the FoodSense, and in that in these demonstrations, we go through the operation of the FoodSense. Now, when you see me do this, you'll notice that actually there's a sort of blue box in the video to my right-hand side. That's actually a shaker. You call it a shaker? No, I call it a vortex mixer. And this really helps to homogenize the product. That's not something that we ship with the FoodSense. So you will need to get, how can I put it, one of those. But otherwise, you see me at this moment handling the meter, and then you see me put the sensor in there. Then you see me with one of these pipettes, and I'm essentially putting the sample onto the sensor. And then you'll see me run the app. Now, I should have really said that the question for this week really is what comes in the box. And sort of to expand on that question, what comes in the box is really asking the question, if I order a FoodSense, we do it as a starter kit, what comes in that box. So I will go to that and answer that question, what's in the box. So if you order a FoodSense starter kit from ZP, what you're going to get is a chili pot, and I really shouldn't have called it a chili pot because but when we originally went to market with this product, I mean, this was 5 years ago at least now, it's actually undergone several generations. You got this kind of Scoville meter. If I can just give you scale, it's about the size of a mouse, and that's really the brains and the electronics for running these tests. The other thing that comes in the box is also the pipette. So the pipette is for sort of transferring the sample and for doing the addition of buffers. So you need the pipette. You need the pipette tips. So these come in the box, and these are really for putting on the ends of our pipette and transferring. Because every time you do a sample, you throw the pipette tip away because you don't want to be doing what's called cross-contamination, etc. So we give you pipettes and pipette tips. We also give you the single-use chili sensor, and we give you 100 of those. Now, these have to be single-use because the molecule that gives you the hotness of capsaicin, in fact, that gives you the hotness is capsaicin, and that capsaicin sticks. It's an organic molecule, and it loves to stick to things. It actually sticks to the sensor. So if you use a sensor twice, you'll find out the next time the same sample measures hotter, and it's because the molecule is sticking to the electrode. So no big issues. But just to say that you get 100 of these and they are single use, and if you do try to reuse them, you just find that everything seems to get hotter and hotter, and it's just because the capsaicin is building up on the sensor. You do get a micro USB cable. This is to go between the power point and the box itself, so you will get a micro USB. The fact that my image is slightly in the way is not at the end of it, so you do get that in the box. Now the next image, I will show it. We also give you a sort of a power socket USB adapter. I have shown this in the UK configuration. The power socket, we can change, when you get it, you can change the adapter so to the region that you want. So by default, what we ship has multi-region adapters in it, so you don't need to worry about it. But just to say that we do ship this USB adapter with it. The adapter plugs into the power socket on the wall. Your cable, obviously attaches into here, and the other end of the cable attaches into the FoodSense itself. Don't worry about the regions. We send it's a multi-region adapter anyway, and you can just swap to the region that you particularly want. The thing to say is, we only support the adapter that we send and the cable that we send with the FoodSense. The reason I say that is because people try to supply their own adapters. They try to supply, let's say, power banks. It can get a bit messy because for example, some wall adapters might only give out half an amp. Some wall adapters might give out 3 amps. So we will only support the one that we ship. And so when you get it, you can obviously look at the part numbers, etc., and maybe find more. But just to say, out of the box, what we support is what we ship. And this 5 mixer cards is a kind of historical thing that we do give these. We call them mixer cards, where we used to sort of pipette the sample and mix on the card. But these days, we actually suggest these vortex shakers. I like the mixer cards because it's very low tech. It's very quick. But when you're trying to do an extraction or trying to make samples that are homogeneous, it's not really up to the job. So we still ship them, and perhaps we should possibly not be shipping them, but they're still in the box. There is an iPhone app, and you can download it off the App Store. There's a QR code on the bottom of the FoodSense. If you flick it over, there's a QR code there that will take you to that. We do ship buffer, 500 milliliters of the ChilliPot Buffer, and we do put a 50 milliliter beaker in there as well. I think this not really required, but we do ship it in there. We do put it in there as well. So if I was to really kind of summarize what is in the box, is the Scoville meter itself. I should have gone back one. Is the Scoville meter itself. You absolutely do need that. The pipette, this is obviously for putting the samples on. The pipette tips that come with it. The single-use chili sensors, you get 100 of those. The micro USB cable that goes between the FoodSense and the wall socket. The power adapter for the wall socket. Don't worry about the regions. This is multi-region. You swap out the adapter for the one that fits your region. We just do, and they all get shipped, so there's no need to ask. The mixer cards, which it's fine, they're still in the box, but I don't think we use them much anymore. The iPhone app, which you can find on the App Store, and also there's a QR code on the bottom of the FoodSense. You can just flick it over and find that there. The buffer, you do need this. You'll see us in many of our videos now. We sort of, if it's Tabasco sauce, we'll take 1 volume of the sample and put 9 volumes of the buffer in there, and then just last the beaker as well. Not super required. I mean, you can provide your own beakers, let's say, but it is in the box. So as I say, if you've got any questions, we are doing a free Q and A every week. Today is the 12th of July. The next week is the 19th of July. If you've got any questions, there's a contact us button on the website. I have put a link to the website underneath the video that's been recorded and will be on YouTube. I mean, we are streaming live at the moment, but this will also be recorded. You can put questions there. And the next Q and A webinar will be on the 19th of July next week. So any questions, they'll come in. And don't forget that we do have, importantly, the live demos webinar and live demos. The next one's on the 25th of July. There's 2 that day, and then the next one that is on the 22nd of July. I'm sorry, 22nd of August. I mean, it's probably worth saying, you can see that we're actually very supportive of the technology. Everyone who buys one of these gets online training with myself and a couple of colleagues. We answer questions, and I think we give people a really good experience. So I think that's it for this week. Any questions, contact us. Don't forget, this will happen again next week, and don't forget there are 2 live streaming webinars, one in July and one in August, and there's 2 on each day. Okay, thanks very much.